But there's so many times I had to tell my mom, like, can you like really stop? I'm like, that's so frustrating. Cause then Peace is like, oh, well, my mom said that you used to do this too. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't a good thing. Like,
right. And now I know better.
What's up, y'all? It's Ashley.
I'm Fee.
It's Melody.
And Cody here. And you've tapped into
The Mama's Den.
Love it.
Welcome to the Mama's Den, y'all.
Y'all.
Welcome back.
What is going on with these kids, with y'all?
See my face?
Oh, Lord, what's happening? What's happening?
First of all,
can I just answer your question?
we're missing Ashley again.
Oh, yeah, that part.
We're
It's
missing
very
Ashley
sad.
again.
We miss you, Ashley.
But we have to let these mamas, as in the four of us, do our things.
That's right. We're very happy for
Support
you
each
off
other.
living your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Felicia has tea from her life.
Okay, so this morning was just one of those mornings where I was just not feeling it, y'all. Listeners, I know y'all feel me too.
Same.
My kids are getting older, and there's so many transitions that are happening in life, and to be a good mom is always something I am striving for on so many levels. But some days I fall short. And this morning, so Peace wants to go back and forth with me on why she feels like she should go to bed a little bit later because she's getting older. And then Zen wants to try to do the same thing. And it turns into this whole fight. They're finally in bed by 9 p.m. but waking up super late. And she doesn't want to sleep in her own bed and turn her own alarm on. And so this morning I was like, look, here, okay? I'm tired. I'm so tired. And I need you to show up and do what you need to do that we have been training on. Set the alarm. Go to bed. Don't talk back when I'm telling you to do something. And I feel like when we overly have to communicate this over every single day as a parent, it just becomes so overwhelming. And today I was just like, over it.
Yeah.
Over it. I'm like, I don't want to, the way we were walking out the house and I take a cart to drop off the trash. Some of the trash fell out and I was like, y'all pick it up. Y'all know where the trash can's at. I'm like, everybody come on. And they both just looking at me, but I just get exhausted from carrying all the things. And Mel, you say it all the time, is like the stress and all of that typically comes because you're trying to be a good parent, you know? And so the way that I coped with that was I dropped them off. I was like, I'm not walking y'all in today. When I tell you I was in such an irritated mood, I walk my kids in every single day. I was like, today I'm not doing it. I'm like, you guys have to do it on your own. Like I don't have the capacity. And they'll be like, okay, mom, okay. So Zen was upset, my 5-year-olds. And he said, you're such a mean mom.
Aww.
Mind you, he tells me I'm an amazing mom, like
Every day.
every single day.
Yes, but it still hurts to hear
Hell
it.
yeah.
I get very annoyed by that.
So he's like, right. So he's like, you're such a mean mom. I just want my dad to be my dad, and I want my stepmom to be my mom. I don't want you to be my mom anymore. I want somebody else to be my mom. And so I just sat there, and all of a sudden, Peace just starts like bawling, crying. That's my Libra sensitive baby. And she was like, you need to say sorry to mommy. And I was like, it's okay, Peace. I was like, just allow him to express himself for a second. He's 5. He doesn't know the magnitude of what it is that he's expressing. So in this moment, I feel like I need to show him grace because I'm not in a good mood either this morning.
Right.
So I let like 3 minutes pass and we were at a stoplight and I turn around and I'm like, let me tell you something, little boy. Got that like,
right.
Oh, man.
and I was
Get your
like,
Felicia Rashad on.
girl, I was like, literally, that's why I was over here giggling. The reality is I'm your mom and you cannot change that. And guess what? Me and Erin had a conversation and she doesn't want to be your mom, but she loves to be your stepmom.
Right.
So that's what you got to work with.
Right.
And he just in the back seat. And so then I dropped them off and then I called their dad. And as soon as he said hello, I just start crying. And I was like, oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
There goes the cleansing moment. But I just called to express myself to someone that understands the same battle that I'm going through with them, has a bit more patience. And I needed to just have someone hold space and like hear me out, you know? But I will probably, and I told him today, I think I texted it to you guys. Yeah, I texted it to everybody. I was like, today I don't feel like being a mom. Today I don't feel like it. And I felt so guilty saying that to myself, but I was like, no, that's how I feel today.
Right.
90% of the time I show up and I do that. Like I body it. But I
Right.
was like, no, today is at 10%. And I was just like, I don't feel like it, you know? What are some mama confessions that you guys have? I feel like that was a big one, y'all. So y'all better back me up.
That's a big one. No, I feel no, but I feel you on that. And
Yeah.
I feel like I thought about that because when you text messaged us this morning, I was like, ooh, confession episode loading because
Girl.
because this is stuff sometimes we're afraid to say out loud
Yeah.
that, like people are like, you shouldn't say that. And it's like, yo, don't tell me right now how I'm supposed to feel because this is really how I feel. I'm tired. I don't have it right now.
Yeah.
Like these kids have worn me down to nothing today. I don't regret them, but I am tired. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I love this space so much because you see all these like social platforms where people are just like, all these women complaining about how hard motherhood is and like, why you just like, you guys aren't painting a great picture of it. It's just like, we're not trying to paint a picture that fits you. This is what my picture
Girl.
looks like.
Yeah.
This is the
Don't
colors.
you wanna see
and
this?
Right. And
The
the
real?
palette I was dealt like, let me be honest that this is a reality too. Sure, there's a trad mom somewhere out there that's baking cookies from scratch all day long and never raises her voice above this
Not
level
the
of
trad
You know what I
mom.
mean? Like I'm being honest because we see so many like varieties. We'll find who you like and stick
Yeah,
with them.
exactly.
We're gonna keep it real over here. I think that the thing for me that and you kind of said you touched on it when I thought about it, I was like, what would my confession? I am so sick and tired of hearing my own voice some days.
Girl, you
Like,
talking
I-
about repeating yourself.
Yes. I am so
Girl.
tired of having to repeat myself over and over and over and over again. Like that part to me just wears me out.
Girl.
Having to repeat myself is just like, no, like this is not fun for anyone. And then again, and then two, like I see the same thing. Like I've experienced it with, my older son, Cam, who's 8. It's like, I see the role that now I get painted as the bad cop in the parent situation because I'm the one that's like heavily enforcing the rules and not letting up on no, we're not going to let that slide. No, you have to do this. No, show up. No, listen to me. Whereas his dad is much more like, easygoing and he's not worried about things as much the way I am, quote unquote. But also, I am more of the primary parent when it comes to the structure of their lives.
Yeah.
So, I do take on more of the brunt of the frustration because I am dealing with it more than
Right.
the other parent. And so sometimes my patience just wears so thin and I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, I'm
Yeah.
done. Like, I don't have it. I don't have it.
Girl.
And I think that that's something that like, I'm okay with openly admitting I don't have it. I told
Yeah.
my son the other night, we were practicing spelling words and like he tried to hit me with some manipulation tactic about like, oh, I don't want to do the practice spelling test again because now it's so late. And I was like, oh, but if I'd have said you could have watched TV or play video games, you'd have
Not
been
too
like,
late
had
for
all
that.
the energy in the world. And I was like, all right, bed. And he was like, what? No, I want to practice. I was like, no. I was like, I'm done.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I told her, I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I said, my threshold for showing up for you, I said, I've given it to you. And
Girl.
I said, you don't want to be here? I'm not here. I said, go to sleep. I said, good luck on your spelling test tomorrow.
Girl.
You got it. And so like confession, like things that we think and feel inside, like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
becoming more comfortable saying out loud and to
Yeah.
my kids.
Yes.
Like, no, bro, I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
have it anymore.
Yeah.
You got to show up.
That's my thing. I'm always like, Mommy's tired.
Yes.
And they're like, every time, and I'm
Isn't
like,
it-
baby, I said it so many times.
Right.
Isn't it so funny? Isn't it so funny like how it takes when we get to that point where they see us get to a level that then they find like, oh,
Girl,
we
both
done
are the
pushed it
little
too
brown
far.
eyes looking like,
But my problem is this. So first off, I identify with all of it. I wrote back to you same this morning when you said
Felt.
you like weren't trying to mommy today because all of that. And even with just kind of getting to a point where I'm saying the things out loud that I would have never said
Yeah.
a year or
Yeah.
two ago because it's just like, bruh. But this is my issue. Taking it a step further is like when I get to the point fairly often where I'm just like, ugh, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm this. I do the crazy thing. They look at me for like 1 second. And then they're like, but why are you ignoring me?
Oh,
I mean, I literally
would've
never,
cried.
ever I never scare them.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
I scare them, then they're like, why are you so mean?
that's
and I'm
how
like,
that's exactly.
The
I'm
math
like,
is not
what
mathing.
are y'all missing?
Right. like, I feel,
cause and effect.
and then that leads me to like, I don't want to mom today because I've done it all. I've tried to mother.
Yeah.
I've tried to mother kindly. I've tried to mother firmly. I've gone crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing worked.
Nothing's working.
I'm leaving. Goodbye.
See, I think it's also very important to identify to the listeners, and I feel like we know this. When we're saying I don't want to mother today, that doesn't mean I think that there's this negative idea of like you don't want to be a mom, and it's like no, today I don't feel like being responsible for little humans that don't want to listen to me.
Right.
I'm not saying I don't want to love them. I want somebody else to come pack this lunch. I don't want to be responsible for two humans today.
And
okay?
also, I don't feel like being disrespected or challenged in a space when I'm showing up doing my best.
Right.
And I would just love a little bit of appreciation. I understand you're 5. I understand you're 2. I understand you're 8. That's fine. However, a little bit of appreciation. And of course, these kids don't have the capacity to understand that at some time. So that's why for us, it's like we're still human. Like we still have our triggers. We still have our breaking points. Like that would happen at your job.
Right.
That would happen anywhere that you felt like pushed to a level of just to your limits.
Also anywhere that you may love going to.
Baby.
But there's some things about it that can ride on your nerves to the point where you're like, well, I'm gonna clock out early today.
Need a break.
Who can come take over, take my shift?
Yeah.
Earlier, this weekend, Peace was she's been so fixed on this idea of like, you know, we're going, let's say we're going to Target and it's like, oh, I need to grab my purse. Ain't no money in there, but I know you just like want to, you know, you want to feel like you're responsible or something. She's like, I'm getting older. Now I drink out of glass cups. Now I sit in the front seat. It's like, okay, I feel you. But it was at a time where we were doing so much at one time. And it's crazy. I'm having to tap into a lot of the things that you say about Cam, where you'll be like, okay, you're acting this way. You're trying to make people laugh. Nobody's laughing. I need you to be mindful of like your surroundings. So I'm on that with Peace like every day now. So it's very clear that I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm still staying and doing what we need to do, trying to create content, it was just so much in one morning. And she passes me the phone and it's her dad and she's like, Mom, I need my dad to drop off my purse. And I was like, Peace? The answer is no. When you really think about it, I was like, can you see that mommy is overwhelmed? I'm like, you can see that, right? Which is why you didn't want to ask me. You wanted to ask your dad. I'm like, so I need you to also, if you're going to be older, this comes with being older, is learning to be mindful and aware. If it looks like mommy's overwhelmed, more than likely mommy is overwhelmed. I'm like, you know when I'm feeling it and when I'm not feeling it. And, you know, she starts crying. She gets upset. And she was like, but it's because you got mad at me and I don't understand why. I said, baby, I didn't get mad until you try to press this purse that ain't got nothing in it on me, and we got real life things to do.
Right.
I'm like, child, you know, and so having to teach her to be mindful and aware of those moments, I almost felt guilty for asking her, like, I need you to kind of like read the room. And then I wondered to myself, why did I feel guilty about telling my child, like, if mommy looks overwhelmed, then just, you know, like it was, I don't know if I was thinking that I was trying to have her like figure me out. Am I making sense?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I actually think that that's actually never too young.
Yeah.
To try to show your children like, hey, read the room.
Yeah.
Like look at me right now. Like I'm doing my best to understand you. I need you to do your best to understand me, or whatever your best is. But kids are really smart.
Girl.
And they know. You know how kids know when they know, like, okay, I can't go ask mom right now. She ain't not in a good mood. Or like, you know, she's like they
like
know.
y'all know.
Y'all know. They know. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I actually think that that's actually very important. I think it actually teaches kids, again, read the room. Like, really pay attention. Like, it's not just about what your experience is. There's other people here.
Constantly saying that, essentially, like, you don't get what you want when you want it. Like, all the time I'm saying that to them. They do not care.
Yeah.
Like, you saying, like, they know when you're in a bad mood. They know, I'm not going to ask mom that. Not mine. Not mine.
Listen, you know, last night
I could be asleep, eyes closed, snoring. Mom.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
can I go read?
There is a point.
Shouldn't you ask me that for?
But what I'm saying is there is a point. I think that it is important to be like, hey, do you see me resting?
I do. I say that.
Yeah. Do you see?
And
and so maybe one day it will click though. Like
I hope so.
No,
Yes,
because
I
it
hope
was
so.
like last
When
night.
they get older.
This is gonna sound so petty, but I did it. I was eating this little Trader Joe's has these bomb bonbons. They're ice cream chocolate. Have you seen these?
Mhm.
God, they're bomb. And they're only 60 calories.
I love
Okay.
Trader Joe's.
Anyways, this is in these little bonbons. The Cameron just came out of his room. He brushed his teeth. He was getting ready for bed. And I was having this one, like this, I was dreaming about this bonbon. I was like, I can't wait till these kids go to bed. I'm just going to have this bonbon so I can go to sleep. I grabbed this thing and I ate it. I ate one bite. Then I ate 2 bites. He came out when I came with the bite. He's like, oh, is that ice cream? Can I have some?
Oh my
I was like, no,
God.
you just brushed your teeth. And I was like, no, you're not having any. He's like, well, can I have a bite? And I was like, no, you cannot have a bite. And he was like, please, I'm your son. You don't want to share with me?
Why do they do that?
I
He
said,
sounds
who
like
does he
me.
think you want to know what I
is?
said? I said, bro, I have shared
My
every
whole
single
life.
thing. I've shared my body with you. Everything that I have, I've shared with you. And I was like, I'm not sharing this with
This
you.
is not
He was
petty. I'm here for
no,
it.
he said, he was like, but mom, please, just a bite. I was like,
Girl.
and I looked right at him and I ate it. And he looked like he tried to put on the fake, like, I'm so hurt, but also thought it was mad funny. And I looked right at him and I was just like, this is for me.
Girl.
I want this.
Mhm.
Girl.
I don't want to share my bonbon with you. I've
Mhm.
shared, like, he's at that age I can make that joke. But the funny thing is that I really felt it in my
Yeah.
spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, on a different, like, most days I'm like, this is your kid. Give them like
Girl.
your water bottle.
No.
Give them everything you
No.
got. It's just, but last
No.
night I was on some, this is mine.
Yep.
Girl.
We're at that stage
Yeah.
where it's like the
I
things
felt-
that we used to be like, I
felt
have
no
to share
ways.
with my
No,
baby.
felt no ways.
I'm sick of it. I bought this. Zoom in on that. I'm sick of sharing. I bought this. It's a probiotic or prebiotic soda. You know how they have those instead of
Yeah.
regular soda, and so they have a new flavor, which is banana cream. And I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, this looks so good." And the kid's like, "Yeah. So we're gonna share, right, Mom? Yeah, we're all gonna share that, right?" And I was like, "Wrong. Nobody ever said that to y'all."
No.
And I'm drinking it, and each one of them, mom, don't drink it all, mom. And I was like, leave me. I was like,
God.
you guys really need to leave me alone. I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
All of
Okay, I
that.
feel less bad.
Okay,
Is there? Oh,
Oh,
And then
just-
and then P spelled out, Mom, can you SAVEMEPLEASE?
She said, don't give that to
And I
divide
was
and
like,
conquer.
don't give it to him.
I'll think about it. I'm like, no.
Divide and conquer. I feel the spirit of Ashley creeping in right now because I think about like all the things that we're sometimes afraid to admit or like our fear of being judged,
Mhm.
right? And so like Ashley shared on an episode recently that she didn't ask for help and she was doing all these things because she was afraid of being judged, because she needed to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely want to know what are some things that you guys have kind of like understood now. Like I already know. I used to judge moms who had their kids on leashes in the airports and in the malls.
Ooh, the
For
leash.
sure.
I
For
used
sure.
to be like
The
how you-
backpack one?
Yeah, the
Which one?
backpack with the harness with the leash.
Girl,
I used to be
any
like,
of 'em.
I used to be like, oh, you have your child on that's not a dog. Oh my gosh, you can't even get your child. Oh, child. That is a method of survival. I
Yeah.
understand.
100%.
That's actually genius. You know what?
It's brilliant.
Make your life easier. Put a harness on that baby that does not listen because that's the only way you got to get through your day. I have no judgment for you anymore. Now that I understand
Yeah.
that I have a child that will literally go and play in traffic if I don't stop her.
Yeah.
She would just be like, bye. Just the world will move out of the way for me.
Mhm.
I God bless that girl. I have to try to make it a game. Red light, green light, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because when that girl is not in a stroller, she is born free.
Yeah.
And these people who had their children on harnesses, good for you. You were onto something. You cracked the code.
There you go.
I understand. No judgment. Okay, so that's
That was
mine.
a good one.
Yeah.
Because I
That's mine.
honestly, that's a good one. I used to like watch parents in places be uncomfortable, like the grocery store or the mall or whatever, and be like, okay, so that's what parenting is. Okay, so when they scream, okay, that's normal. Like I would take all the quote unquote bad and be like, okay, so I get it. This happens. Like I can have kids, like trying to process that it'll be okay. And so I was very proud of myself for that before having kids. And I think that made me prepare for the worst. But when I think about like what did I really judge? For sure, the harness thing never sat, or the leash, I would call it a leash, never sat right with me until I just realized like the necessity of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think that's probably the one thing that I for sure, until you said it, I was going to say nothing. I was like, no,
The harness.
parenting is crazy. And it just is what it is.
I feel like mine was the kid that doesn't listen to the parents.
Mm.
That thing.
The tantrum kid in public.
Yeah, but I feel like I was really more judging the child in that moment. Like, now I get it. And I know for me even when we're on the airplanes, like the screaming child is just like, oh my God, the
Yes.
baby, like
Yeah.
make it stop. Now I don't even hear it. I don't hear it at all anymore. Other people's kids crying doesn't
not
bother me.
at all.
My children crying after a while, and mind you, not crying because they're hurt, but like, the whining. That is like other kids.
There was
I
a
could do
woman
it.
behind me on a flight like in the last year where she had a 4-year-old daughter and like a new baby, and you could tell the baby was teething, and the baby was just. You could also tell that this woman has lived with screaming children her entire journey of motherhood. She was unfazed by the screaming, and everyone around us was not unfazed. Like
Poor
they were
thing.
very upset.
Yeah.
I literally was just like, does she need help? Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to turn around and be
Yeah.
like, can I help? But like, I feel like
She was unbothered.
she was unbothered about it. And I was like, okay, sis, do you?
Yeah.
Because I'm the same. Like, now I have so my first child is a wonderful traveler. It's very, very calm on a plane, very cooperative, very, very, he's a seasoned traveler and came that way. My second child, on the other hand, has prevented us from going on a trip for over a year now, because the last time that we took her on a plane, I was that parent. She screamed and carried on so ridiculously that people were looking at us from looking at us. I was getting the glares that I remember seeing people being like, oh, shut that baby up.
Oh,
To also like, is
no.
she it was nonverbal. They were just looking. It was just looks.
Yeah.
Like, quiet that baby down, or like, is she okay? Like, is she hurt? Like,
Yeah.
is she going through something? She just wanted to get up and walk around the plane. She did not want to be in the confines of like being held. And she screamed so loud. And when I tell you my child has a shrill, she let it loose at a friend's house the other day, and they were just like, well, somebody takes after mom's pipes. And I was like, oh Lord, we are these people. And I really just had to let it go. I was just like, all right, I'll be that. And that's why when I see kids having tantrums in public now and screaming, I know the type of mom I am. I don't play any of these things. Like, my kids are pretty well-behaved kids, but that one, the little one, she will also express herself without hesitation when she feels to. And the thing that now that she's getting older, I'm talking to her, now I say to her, I'm like, why? I get close and I'm like, why are you screaming like that? I said, do you hear anyone else screaming? And she pauses. And that actually tends to like trigger something in her that she's like, oh, no one else is screaming. Like, why did I scream like that? So I appreciate that. But that tantrum, baby, Cameron never threw himself on the ground. This one will give you dead weight and just all of a sudden throw herself on the ground. And I'll get up
Girl.
right now.
Girl.
And she will just be like, ah, like troll me even further. And I'm just like, what do I? And then I just have so much empathy for and understanding and compassion for every single mom whose child has spun their head around 360,
Girl.
screaming and acting out for no reason, or for whatever reason it feels reasonable to them, but very childish. Children are children. And yes, why you gotta be so childish right now? I just can't deal with you.
The worst is when like you're going through all this and then you feel bad as a parent. You're like, oh my God, I can't make my baby or my child stop.
Yeah.
There's this little boy we saw the other day, and he was not listening. I mean, he never really listens to the mom, but you can tell the mom is really trying. Like, she's, and you can also tell that she's very embarrassed.
Oh.
But the first, when me and the children's father saw her, we both looked at each other like, damn, that kind of sound like Zen at home, huh? Like, yeah, it does. So I pulled her to the side and I was like, I'm just letting you know, like, our son, even though he's showing up here in this way at home, when nobody's around, he sounds exactly like him. And she was like, oh my God, really? But you can tell she just felt so like less alone in that moment. Because sometimes I would want to be like, get over here, little boy, now. But I'm like, it's not my kid. I can't do that.
I was at a restaurant, the coffee shop the other day with Kaya, and she was just in one of those modes where she was like, up, down, round, 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 round. I was just trying to have coffee, and it was just, I thought, oh, that'd be cute. I'll be my daughter. We'll go a little. Nope.
A little coffee
She
date.
got up and ran out the coffee shop to follow this little boy that she was playing with. And this older couple, now mind you, I had a cup of water, her bag, all her stuff. And I was like, this is it. We're leaving the coffee shop and then I'm taking her straight to the car. So I had to gather everything. And I looked up and my daughter was gone. I could see her, but she was gone with this other family. And this older couple was looking at us, and he just turned to me, and the man was like, "You've got your hands full, don't you?"
Right.
And I was just like, and this is why it says it takes a village.
Yep.
In other words, help if you want to say
Right.
something.
You
Like,
see my kid
you
running
see my kid
outside?
running outside. Like, do something. Help me out, bro. I'm here by myself. But that's the thing that I think that we it's like you feel those moments, but like at the same time, it's just like, yes, I do have my hands full.
Yeah.
That is
Legit.
the reality. It is obvious.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to hide anything right now. I am overwhelmed. Yes, I do. There goes my kid. I even said it out loud. I was like, oh, and my child ran out of the store with another family. Gotta go. Because I felt so embarrassed. Like, I could not stop her. She was not listening to me for nothing that day.
She said it would be cute. You know, me and my daughter go to coffee shop.
No, it wasn't cute. It was not cute. It was very stressful.
Ooh, child.
I don't take those children to the grocery store together. That's not happening.
Zen has to stay in
You
the
know
car.
I don't take them
I was
too.
like, I'm trying to let you be a big boy. I was like, but bruh, you keep on. Every time I turn around, I'm like, where is Zen? I'm like, get up. I'm
In the
like,
car.
please help me move his feet into the little
No.
things. I'm like, no.
Mm-mm.
But Target has that one where you can, did you guys see that? We used to have when we were kids, but they have it
it's
where
got
it's
the
like a little seat.
car.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say the name of the Target we go to, but I was like, bet. I was like, and then I'll stay in this store longer and spend some more money.
Yes.
But I'm like,
It's all a
everybody
setup.
sit here,
Genius.
strap up, and let's
Yeah.
go. You want a Starbucks? You
Retail-
want a banana bread?
Retail
Everything
therapy.
is fine.
Retail therapy.
Do y'all
mom.
do y'all give unsolicited advice to other parents?
No.
Never?
The only unsolicited advice I will offer is that, like, been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
Like a relatability
Like a
moment.
relatability
Yeah.
post.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
it's it'll get better. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I
just
always
hang in
ask
there.
people-
Because you also never know whatever's going on.
You
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But
No.
people think they do.
Yeah.
The people who
Yeah.
give unsolicited advice that are not us.
No.
That's why I like to have conversations with mom. Like an older mom, a new mom, whoever, right? Like moms in
Mhm.
general. I always like to have dialogue first because then you can kind of hear what somebody would need, like in the conversation. So it's not necessarily like unsolicited advice, but it was like, it's very clear, like that woman was struggling,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe, but it's more of a conversational thing.
I
like,
think you have to know what the mom needs. Like, if I'm on a
Yeah.
plane and the mother's like, oh my gosh, her ears are so bad. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do. Like, I have here, sis. This is what I
If
did.
someone articulates
Yes.
a need
Yeah.
I
for
went to
information.
meet a friend's baby this weekend, and for the first time, and she was drooling a lot, and da 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 da, like just all these things that I could just see the stage in the first time mom. So I was like, you know what really helped Kaya or really helped Cam, and I was like, these things or whatever. So I just actually ended up getting the Amazon and just sending it to her just so she
Yeah.
could have it. They text me the next day, oh my gosh, this is so helpful. Like, thank you so much. Like, so I feel like the advice only comes from where I feel like I can offer something that they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
looking to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, not like, you know what you need to do. You need to whoop that. No. You need to put that child in. You need to give your child some. No. I don't have. No, nobody. I think should do that.
Yeah.
Period.
What about, do you do it, Cody?
No. No. I do
She
not
said
do
no.
the unsolicited advice thing at
Yeah.
all.
Mm.
You just don't know what somebody really needs, like what's
Mm.
really
Yes.
going on.
Yeah. And what if you tell them the wrong advice? That's where I get scared. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be responsible.
Mm-mm.
Child, I got all the unsolicited
Yeah,
advice
just-
when I first had peace, and I had an attitude. I was over it because
Yeah.
everything is so new. It's like you're trying to learn something, and people are hovering over you that also know what to do. But it's like, hold on, can I just?
Yeah.
And every mom is different, so everybody, the way that they do things, change a diaper, the way that they
Yes.
pat the babies back to go to bed, everything is
Mhm.
different. So sometimes I felt like it was like 7 people in my ear telling me what to do, and I'm like, can you let me feel how I want to feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I would get frustrated. And then I pushed everybody away, and then I started to figure it out. And as I needed help, I'd be like, hey mom, what do you think about this? But I felt
Yes.
like everybody kind of learned through me, like, maybe we shouldn't do that. And it was a lot of like, it's coming from a space of love, but I'm like, but it's too much.
Yeah. People can have the best of intentions with unsolicited advice, but it's like if the receiver isn't ready to receive,
Girl.
That part.
or if it doesn't apply and you're just speaking out of turn,
Yeah.
that's the risk that you take when
Yeah.
you give unsolicited advice. And it definitely comes from the mamas or like the grandmamas.
Yeah.
This is like a silly example, but some like as my mother gets older too, sometimes I realize I'm talking to her less than I normally would because it's like I don't want to hear the thing that she wants to tell me about the kids that I don't want to hear. But they were FaceTiming the other day, and I just gave them the phone and like went on about my life. And so like a couple days later, she's calling me. I'm somewhere and I'm like, I'm at a loud event. What's up? She texted me and she was like, I need to tell you what such and such did on FaceTime. And I was like, okay, what happened? So I'm so glad she texted it. So I didn't call her and then have to respond verbally. So she texted, she was like, one of them, actually, because she didn't know who it was. She was like, one of them mooned me on FaceTime. And I'm like,
That's
and
perfect.
I'm like, but I'm straight up like, okay. Like,
And
right? I'm like, they're 5, first of all.
Yeah.
They like their butts. They like mooning people. They like wiggling their butts around.
Butts.
Sometimes they do it with underwear. Sometimes they don't.
Girl.
I'll let them know not to do that again.
Right.
Thanks. Right? So like 2 days later, she's like, hey, have you talked to him? Why did he do that? And I'm like, girl, if you don't leave me alone.
Mom, no.
that's funny.
I'm not about to have a serious conversation with this 5-year-old
Bro.
about why he mooned the FaceTime.
Butts.
Okay.
His grandma too.
Mooned
at
his
that.
grandmother on FaceTime.
But got boys in private parts is also like,
Ooh,
I'm like,
so
I
much.
have to, I'm like, Zen, please go in the other room. And he thinks it's so funny. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
not funny. I'm like, it's move. You're irritating me, little boy. But he told Peace yesterday, hey, Peace, I'm going to pee on you.
Oh God,
I turn
they
around,
love
Zen
talking
has-
about it.
Zen has his underwear and his pants pulled down. And I was like, Zen, you can't really do that. And he's cracking up. And I'm like, baby, you can't do that.
Yes.
are
Peace is just
wild.
like,
Legit it's times 3. Well, really times 2. The oldest doesn't really act like that, but they love talking about pee. They love talking about poop.
oh,
they,
perfect.
they just love it.
This is great. I'm really happy that you're tearing, because I was like, why my son?
No,
No.
I don't know why. And then had the nerve to tell me today, just this morning, Langston was like, at school we say number 1 for pee and number 2 for poop. And I'm thinking, so why you come home? That's all you want to talk about is pee and poop then. You can say 1 and 2 here. Let's do that.
Comfort.
All the time.
Comfort.
I don't even want to get into all the poop songs. This is really for that boy episode that we
Right.
did.
Go
but
ahead and
whatever.
transfer this over.
But there are so many poop songs. So
Okay,
many.
wait. So, Fee, you brought up something earlier on. I don't know if it was today or another episode that we did, but you were talking about things that like your daughter does to you that kind of like tests you a little bit because you kind of know. Like, what are some of the things that you guys used to do that your mama would be like, "Ugh, girl, if you don't stop." Like,
Pieces. I feel like Pieces very she wears her expression on her face
Ooh.
and in her energy and in her body language, and she thinks that she's hiding it, and I'm like, nah, you got to work on
But
it.
were you like that to your mom?
100,000%. So, but this is the part that's annoying to me. So let's say Peace is getting an attitude, and I'll correct her in that moment. If my mom is right there, my mom will in the same 30-second window, she'll be like, your mom used to do that all the
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and then now she's wondering why I did it.
Yep.
And I'll tell her, I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, but right now I'm trying to parent.
Now
Can
it's not
you
the
stop?
time.
Now's
Yeah.
not the
You
time.
are not. Yeah, I'm like, girl. But there's so many times I had to tell my mom, like, can you like really stop? I'm like, that's so frustrating. Because then Peace is like, oh, well, my mom said that you used to do this too. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't a good thing. Like,
Right. And now I know better.
It's funny. I think the thing that I'm learning about my children is that some of the things like that we used to do to our parents, I think we get back from our children because we like are like, oh, we need to understand it like full circle,
Girl,
like and what is and how
karma.
do we manage it differently? Because if I think about Kaya specifically, she screams a lot because that's how she expresses herself. And I remember my mom would be like, Melanie, the screaming, I can't handle the screaming. And I used to be like, I don't scream. I didn't even realize that I was a screamer, I guess, as a kid, but I guess I was. So she does that. But something I know my mom could never handle was when I would ask why. My mom would be like, because I said so. My dad would be like, because Z. Like, why after Z comes in the alphabet? Like, I just was never satisfied with whatever answer they gave me. And it's interesting to like know that like that was the thing that drove them crazy. And understanding now as a parent, like I feel I have a responsibility sometimes to explain why to my children.
Yes.
But also
yeah.
in understanding my parents, sometimes I don't.
Yes.
Sometimes it's because I said so and that's that. The
Period.
end. And so now I understand that more with my parents. Like
Heck yeah.
the pushing and pushing and pushing and just not stopping. Although like it can show itself as a good quality to have in life, like as a parent, how testing that can be and just like exhausting.
I definitely vowed to not say because I said so.
Right.
Like that was my one thing. And I probably didn't for like 5 years
Yep.
up until recently.
Good. I'm proud of you though.
But now, I mean, I try to give an answer.
Yeah.
One of them says why over and over and over again. And I'm like, bruh, because I told you to.
Yeah.
Because frankly, it's not even just I told you to. That's why the first time.
Right.
It's like I have now told you 2 times to do this thing that you
Yes.
know you're supposed to do. And I've answered the why. So you're asking me why again.
Girl.
Because I said it. And at a
Yes.
certain point, you need to do what I asked.
Yes.
That part.
Because I
that,
take care of you.
100%.
that part.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is mine. Like I run this. It's my we're
Is it
here.
tapping?
You
Yeah,
knew
that's-
here, not me.
You know. But that's the truth. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People sometimes I think we in this, it's a gentle parenting and you should explain to your child, bro, we're not the same.
Everything don't need to be explained.
We're not the same.
We're not equal.
We're not the same. I give you and because I know that I'm mindful
Yeah,
and I
girl.
am conscious of it, I know that I do a damn good job of taking into consideration your feelings,
Right.
your opinions, how you feel. Like growing up, I was not to have no feelings and no
Yep.
opinions and no think pieces.
Yep.
You don't have an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yep.
So I know that I'm doing such a
Yeah.
better or evolved job than how I was raised. So at a certain point, it's like, but I also understand that other point. It's like, no, like
Yep.
we're not the same. I respect you, but I am the authority figure here. I do run this. So you gotta let me lead.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta let me lead, bro.
Well, that's we have to tell Peace that a lot. We have to tell her a lot because she'll try to hover over me and her father, and we tell her like, you've been here for 9 years. We've been here for 30 plus years. We know, and
Mhm.
and I tell her all the time, I'm like, Peace, if I'm telling you that I'm not going to explain this, it's for a reason. And at some point, girl, you got to trust because we've made it this far
Trust me.
with me being a leader and your father being a leader. So you figure it out, girl. I'm like, have we ever steered you in the wrong direction? Have you been blessed this whole entire time? Yes. And I'm like, okay, then back up. Like, back it on
Right,
up,
right.
Gotta check them kids.
I already know.
I feel like this new version of who I am as a mom, 2 kids, separated, all the thing. I feel like I'm very proud of this version of myself. I feel like this version of myself is I feel like I mentioned it to you guys. I feel like I mentioned everything to you guys.
Mhm.
I mentioned that I was journaling one day and I was writing out the woman that I always thought my mom was supposed to be, this idea, but the whole time it was actually who I was meant to be and what my goal was as a mother, as a woman. And when I look at that woman in the mirror and think about all the work I've done to this point and more to go, I feel like I'm very proud of myself. And I think being able to say that out loud and accept that and accept all the parts of the journey, the bad, the good, the sad, the happy, I feel like I accept her. I'm like, I dig her. I'm like, Fee as a mom, she's just super cool.
Got
The Fee before
Hmm.
that, I don't really know.
What do you not
I like
know?
I
She was
just wasn't
probably
as
very
cool.
cool too.
She was cool, but she wasn't this tight. Like, I feel like our kids and our experience as a mom just expands us and stretches us to limits that I didn't even know I had inside of myself. So, yeah, this version.
Well,
She's cooler.
Before we get into our own versions, I do want to say, because I don't think I've ever said it to you, how much I love, as much as you can share, I love hearing how you guys co-parent.
Mhm.
As a child of divorce, and my parents, my dad disliked my mother, but I think he was in love with her.
That's
But
how it
anyway,
is.
he was just not checking for this woman. Like he would not drop me off. He would, he tried to keep his distance.
Yeah, he was in love for sure.
And
I agree,
so,
I agree.
and so
Mhm.
I'm really passionate about like co-parenting
Mhm.
and how people do it and people talking about it and folks understanding like there are ways to do it that prioritize everybody's
Yep.
well-being and peace. And so I just like when you share, it's really great. I know it makes my heart happy to hear it, and I know that it's great for peace and zen.
Thank you for that. There is a mom, I haven't seen her in years. She was at this event this weekend and she was just like being kind of quiet. I can tell she like had something she want to say, but she didn't want to say it. And then finally she was like, okay, girl, I'm just letting you know, I love the podcast. And when you talk about dating and co-parenting, she was like, Fee, you really give me hope. And she like looked at me and I was like, thank you for sharing that. Because as you guys know, I'm trying to find my balance of like how to express my point of view of parenting. And sometimes I have a hard time doing that. And so the fact that even though I may feel like that inside, but it's helping mothers and women that are going through that experience. And it's had a negative or negative like perspective or a negative perspective on it for so long of like co-parenting has to be like baby mama, baby daddy drama and all this stuff. And I was like, I hated that
It
my
doesn't.
mom hated my dad. I hated that. And it wasted, like when I think about it, so many years passed and it's like, my gosh, like I refuse. I was like, never. And we fight and we have our things, but I was like, I never want my children to experience that. And I don't want to go through that. And I'm like, your heart not hurting? Who hurt you, sis? You know, I'm like, come on, mom. Like, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you for telling me.
Your friend.
Mine is not as deep and thoughtful.
It's okay.
My version of which I love for you. My change that I think that I've seen in my growth as a woman and then as a mother is my ability to be okay with saying I don't feel like it.
Mm,
And that goes for like everything. That's like I don't feel like going, I'm not going. With my
mm,
kids, I don't feel like cooking, I'm not cooking.
sounds like
I
Kaya.
don't feel like parenting today. We're gonna sit and watch this TV all day if that's what I feel okay doing. Like I don't feel like it. And of course there's a boundary to where I don't feel like being a mom. That's not an option. Like
Yeah.
we know like we might feel that way, but we still have to show up, right?
Yeah.
But like truly acting on the how I feel on that day, like I think the pressure to I gotta cook 3 meals a day and it's
Yeah.
gotta be this and it's gotta be that. Look, it might just be a pizza in the oven tonight. It just might be that. You had pizza last night too? Okay, cool. We did it again. Like I think I'm giving myself so much more grace being a mother now. You know, I think before children too, even without the responsibilities, I feel like I was much more hardlined with myself. Like, oh, you got to be this and it's got to
Yeah.
do that and it's got to be. Now I'm just kind of like, oof. Like you can only do your best. And so I was just like, look, did I do my best? Sure, I did today. That's it. Like, am I killing it? I sure am killing it. I know I'm doing a great job as a mom and a woman and just doing my best that I can. But today, if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do it. And I'm okay saying that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same, but I feel like the fullness of acceptance of being okay with these things is still in progress. Also, some of it is new, right? Even us talking about my comfort with just walking away, right? I've tried all the things I can try. Now I'm owning that I need to go get out of this space. Whether that means y'all need to watch TV and I go somewhere
Right.
else in the house, or whether that means I'm calling somebody to just like help me take over so I can go for a walk.
Yeah.
Is new in terms of just like owning that, accepting that. And so I'm okay. I'm good with it. But it's like new. It's just this
Yeah, I feel
evolution
you.
of like, okay, this is the season. And so trying to get there fully.
But I think too, that's also like a practice subconsciously in self-preservation.
Yeah.
It's just because you just have to know, like, in this space, in this time, you got to be your biggest advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. Like
Yeah.
we teach our children this. We try to tell our children this. But I have to advocate for myself. You
Yep.
have to advocate
Yeah.
for yourself. Like
Yep.
you would like your partner to do it. Sometimes your partner's not there.
Yeah.
So you would like your kids to do it. Sometimes they just don't have the maturity or the capacity to understand that. So you have to be able to say, like, okay, what do I need to do self-preservation right now so that
Yeah.
I can continue to show up in this role? And I think,
Yeah.
Self-preservation
real.
is a real one for moms.
real talk.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that on the way here. I was like, I'm trying to really figure out how to just continue to preserve the best parts of myself.
Wait, I forgot, y'all. We have a question of the week. I was about to be like, well, that was beautiful.
And we have a email.
That was beautiful. We do.
Is that what I read? Yeah, we have
We
a
do. We
nice
have an
email from
Did someone
someone
write us at podcasts with an S at blacklove.com?
to tell us about ourselves. I love this for us. So we got a very nice email that we're gonna share. So it says, "Y'all be cracking me up. I have binge listened to every episode for the past 3 weeks. You all are straight therapy for me, and I absolutely adore you all. I'm a 36-year-old wife and a mother of 2 boys, 5 and 19 months, and they work me. But I'm so obsessed with my clingy boys. We moved from the Bay Area to Arizona, Bay Area, and 2 years ago, and I'm finally feeling like I'm establishing some great supportive mommy friends. That's a blessing. I am so overwhelmed being a stay-at-home mom, work from home mom. That second child, y'all, that second
That
child.
second child,
Wait,
yeah.
it's the child, because I'm like, I feel you. I don't know why we moved and then had our second child without our village, like Ashley, but we did it, and y'all have helped me realize stop doing everything myself and ask for help.
Great.
Girl, one of my favorite stay-at-home mommy friends takes my 19-year-old while our older children are at school, and it's been life-changing. She gets paid her small child. Wait, sorry, I need to separate this because now all the words are jumbling together. She gets paid. Her small child has a buddy, and his mama gets a break. Even though I'm working, it's been easier to focus on work and get things done way more efficiently. Now, by the time a mommy rush hour happens, school pickup, homework, activity, dinner, bath time, bedtime, all the things, I am not completely defeated from the day juggling my toddler and work.
That's great.
I just wanted to tell you ladies that you are all my best friends.
Aw.
It's so sweet. I love all the advice and perspectives you all share, and I really love how open you all are while sharing your life experiences, parenting styles, and stories. I relate to each and every one of you, and you make me feel like I'm back in Cali with all of your expressive vibes. Thank you. Love you.
Aw, we love
that
you
was so
too, girl.
kind.
Love you back.
Aw, thank
Thanks.
you.
Oh,
That was
well,
very nice.
we're always talking about these comments and these questions. Y'all drop us some emails.
I know, this is
please.
Wait, but
nice.
also take this email, sis, and put it on the YouTube video.
Yeah, put it in the comments,
on
girl. Just copy
Instagram
paste.
Comments.
Just copy and paste.
We would really appreciate that. All right. So the question of the week. You going?
I'll go, yeah. Question of the week. I'm married and we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. My husband is in the military and I'm a stay-at-home mom. How can I really voice it and get him to know that sometimes I need a break? I don't even get a Sunday to myself. I'm always the one doing everything from cooking to cleaning to getting the boys together. How can I get him to understand that I need a break too and that I need help too? Say it with your chest.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might need to speak up if you're not already. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
not, I was just talking to a client about this. Sometimes it's not, the fact that you want your husband to do it. Maybe you need to, if you have the means, to be able to hire someone to help you get a couple hours out of that Sunday, because it sounds like husband is also busy, but maybe there needs to be some middle ground of like another person coming in and supporting.
And it's also not clear if he's like in the military away.
Yeah.
But let's take a note from old girl who wrote us the beautiful email, right? Like sometimes it's being creative with a homie about being able to drop your kid off with them and just like get those hours, but be strategic and thoughtful. Ask your husband for whatever support he can give in that regard, but also like talk to your homies.
I think not more so than I have like a solution, but I would just like to acknowledge that this is a theme that comes up very often in our questions. It comes up in our comments. It comes up a lot that like women tend to feel that we are doing a lot and carrying the load. And how do we ask for help? And I always empathize with women on the side that are like, they don't know how to approach their partners about these conversations.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said there.
Yep.
Like, why are we still not feeling like we can go and say, I need the help from our partners?
Yep.
Like that is something that I think without judgment is something that I would encourage more women and people to have conversations before having children. What do you want your life to look like with someone? What are the expectations you have of a person that you plan on spending the rest of your life with? What is the role that you have? Are you prepared to be like, listen, I love you, but I ain't gonna be cooking all day.
Right.
It's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Because I think that that's something that we don't talk enough about prior to building a life with someone.
Yeah.
We just think, oh, this is a good person, which, that's something that I would just like to impart. It's not really like a solution or answer to this person, but it's something that I want people to really consider as you think about partnering and coupling and creating and procreating with people. what is it that you really want your life to look like, and who do you want to be in that
Yeah.
scenario?
But also recognizing, as that is super important, and I fully support it, recognizing that you will grow and evolve and change.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes we feel beholden to, well, when we were dating, I said this, so I feel bad now telling him,
That's a
I
good
don't want to
point.
stay home
No,
or
well,
something
it's a
like
good point.
that.
But that's why say it.
Yeah.
But say it.
Yeah.
Say it out loud.
I also feel like a lot of women, at least the theme that I'm seeing, is they're afraid to have vulnerable, direct conversation with the husband. So I also want to know what happens there. I feel like that's like a whole episode in itself of having those like real conversations. I know I didn't know how to communicate what I actually needed when I first had peace. With Zen, I feel like I knew more, and I was in therapy by then. But I'm like, I definitely think there needs to be a like pre-existing therapy.
No, but you
Like
know what?
something.
But that's the truth, because I think the thing that I struggle from my own personal experiences is that I think I'm very good at expressing how I feel or what I need, but I
Mhm.
don't know if I'm good at expressing it in a way that my partner hears and
Sure,
receives.
sure.
And that's a whole dance within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, am I speaking just to be heard, or am I speaking to get the result that I want? And
Yeah.
I think that that's something that I find myself trying to navigate even at this stage in our marriage, in our family, like all of that. Like, how do I communicate what I need and get what I need in a way that he receives it and hears me and all the boxes get checked?
That's
You know what
it.
I mean?
That's literally it. I feel like I had to learn that in co-parenting. There's so many
Yes.
blessings in co-parenting, you guys. I had to learn that with their father, because the approach that I was taking when I needed something, he wasn't hearing me. He wasn't understanding me. And then finally I was like, Felicia, maybe you also need to get familiar with what it is that is going to make him hear you. So I kind of had to learn to speak his language. So I think it is a matter of both people being able to understand one another and watching. Yes, we started out like this, but we evolved to this now.
Yes.
So what does that look like? Because the way that we communicate now is like golden.
Yes.
It's golden. But before I was like, I feel like I would always say it. I was like, I feel like I'm in like a glass box and you can see me, but you can't hear me. And that part was like,
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
easy.
Close the door. Yeah.
Close the door.
Got me okay. Bye.
See you next week.
Every time. Yeah.
Well, hopefully
Well,
that was helpful.
Yeah, hopefully it was, sis.
That's the Mama's
Wrap it up.
Den.
That's
If you're listening, that means you found us wherever you get your podcasts. If you're not watching us yet, then you
Why?
make sure you
What is you
that part.
doing? What is
Make
you
sure you
doing?
tune into Black Love's YouTube page, The Mama's Den, new episodes every Tuesday. Leave us a comment like the beautiful one you heard today, a long one.
an email, an
Lengthy,
email
long
long
specific
one.
to each of us. We like that. And then also rate and review on Apple Podcasts. We love it. We need it.
And we love you. See you
Thank
next time.
you.